the reason I'm on the scene, the reason I have the gloves, is a multi-part unboxing for something extremely, and I do mean extremely nerdy. This is perhaps nerdier than even when I did the PC builds. As a matter of fact, I know it's nerdier than when I did the PC builds. I'm going to be real with you. This is perhaps more deep nerd. I think that was on purpose for this scene. I think if I go back to... Wow, to use my controls, I have to take off the gloves. They should now work on this one. Nerdier, yes. It's a word now. And yes, nerdier than even the podcast instructions. Nerdier than when you people redeem pulling out a retro gadget or doing a gaming fact. This is going to be nerdier than that. I'm going to unbox a couple of items towards a project related to the Dreamcast. Thank y'all again for getting me on this hype train. I do appreciate it. Y'all are amazing. So let me come back to the scene. All right. So yes, this is going to be the nerdiest unboxing by far. And let me tell you why. The Sega Dreamcast was, I believe, the first console that came out with built-in internet connection capabilities, right? The problem with trying to use that in 2025 is that the built-in network connection it was designed for is a dial-up modem. 56K era kind of stuff. For those that don't know what a dial-up modem is, one, you were probably born after the year 2000, and two, wow, you make me feel old. It uses traditional phone lines for sending information to and from the internet. It's a slower method. It ties up a phone line. People can't make phone calls and whatnot when you're using it. But it's what we had at the time. The telephone lines were already there. Broadband with its dedicated connections hadn't come out yet, so it's what people used. Now, if you want to use a Dreamcast in 2025, you could get the network adapter. Problem with that is the actual broadband network adapter is not supported by all games. The modem is the only one that is universally supported because it's the one that came built into the console. So, thank y'all for having me on that hype train. For those watching this unboxing on YouTube, it was streamed live on Twitch, and due to the contributions of the viewers, we were on a hype train. Thank y'all then again for that. So, to get online and use all the features in 2025 with a Dreamcast, you essentially either have to plug into a phone line or create your own bridge between your broadband network connection and the 56K modem. Essentially, you create your own dial-up ISP, internet service provider, for those not familiar with the term. You create your own dial-up ISP between your network and the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast will still dial into your device, which I'm going to show you the parts to put it together. It will dial into that, and then that will have an uplink back to your network, and it will be online. It'll be perhaps the fastest dial-up connection you've ever experienced because, one, it's very short, it's dedicated, and straight to your broadband connection. You need a couple of things for this. Of course, you need some phone cable, right? But also, you need something to host the connection for that. To do that, there's this little project out called DreamPi. What it is a project in which a Raspberry Pi mini computer is used as the server for that ISP connection. Thankfully, I have some very nerdy friends And in this bag, when I mentioned the project, is their Raspberry Pi 4. Again, I said a Raspberry Pi is a mini computer. There's an entire series of them. You can get cases, accessories. You can use them for all kinds of small projects around the house where you want a small, dedicated computer to do one or two things. Whether it be a smart mirror, whether it be a control hub for all the smart devices in your house, whether it be a mini computer for hosting your own email server or website or a print server or a file server or any other small single-purpose thing, you can get a Raspberry Pi mini computer. This is one in a case. They usually come without the case. This is a Raspberry Pi 4 that a coworker of mine was very nice to give me because they no longer needed it. They had a collection. And this is the cable to power it. Now, USB ports and a network card. There is a mini HDMI out, but I don't think I'll need it. But the important thing here is that network connection. This is how it'll get back to my network. But remember, I said the Dreamcast uses a dial-up modem. So, put that down. In this package should be the ASMR, a USB, I'm holding it upside down, modem. Pyro is good with you. So, this, in conjunction with the Raspberry Pi and its network connection, now physically become the bridge I need. Might as well unbox this live. Keep in mind, even though I've shown you this, these are not all the pieces I need yet. Break out the X-Acto knife and let's just draw a line down there, shall we? I really got to change the blade in that. Cut through. Little bit of plastic unwrapping ASMR. Let's throw that out. Shout out to anybody who remembers the days of using built-in modems on their computers and laptops. Oh, the good old box in a box. They're really keeping it old school. So you remember when we thought these things would fade away? We wouldn't see dial-up modems anymore? Ah, psych. Some projects still need them. Definitely don't need this. Don't need a manual. All I need is that phone cable and this. I'm not going to unwrap the phone cable because it's a phone cable. Important. Run the product CD before you plug in the product. The CD will tell you when to plug in the product. Bullshit. I don't need it for that. Little bubble wrap tearing open ASMR. And there we have it. Phone line connection there. USB connection there. And status indicators for data and it being online. Okay. So remember, I just told you this and the Raspberry Pi are not the entire package. So this will plug into the, well, I could just show you. This plugs into one of the many ports on the Raspberry Pi. Phone line goes in here. This goes to my network for broadband connectivity. The DreamPi software, again, you can look that up. the word DreamPi, no spaces, no dashes, no dots, DreamPi, search for that. You'll see the project. You load that on a micro SD card, you put it in here. The Raspberry Pi will boot that software. So now I have the physical parts. Yeah, the laptops, especially the thin and lights, don't come with cabled network connections anymore. Boss, how you doing? It looks like a Magic Jack in size. I could see that, yeah, but that's not what it's doing. Okay, so now I have those parts, but here's the problem, right? Phone lines used to have voltage across it. They used to be powered. Remember, house phones, for those old enough to remember, would just power on. If they had lights, they would light. You could hear the dial tone. There was power over that line. In this setup, there's no power over the line. So we need to fix that somehow. That's what this box is for. This is more of a professional series software. Not software, hardware. Why did I say software? This is professional series hardware for simulating a phone line, right? It'll provide the power for you to essentially be able to simulate an actual active telco environment. Here's the thing, right? This is kind of an expensive option for this project. I went with it anyway because it's kind of what I do and it's an investment towards this. And thanks to the grace of you and those of you who like to take me on hype trains and those things, that goes back towards the hardware for these projects. I could have built one which would have involved a 9-volt battery, a resistor, and some cables. But then now I have to keep track of if that 9-volt battery is charged when I'm getting ready to stream or produce content for you guys. No. How you doing, Big Pick? So this is an all-in-one complete kit which will simulate an active phone line with voltage on it. That now will go in between the modem and the Dreamcast. So now the line will have voltage. It'll accept data back and forth. Thank you for the bits, Big Pick. It'll accept traffic back and forth, right? And the Dreamcast will be able to dial, and the DreamPi will be able to answer the call and provide an internet connection to it. So now we're going to unbox this. Again, if you have a Dreamcast or any other dial-up device you would like to bring online in a mobile era, a project similar to what I'm doing here is what you'll need. There it is. Viking two-way phone line simulator. The power brick for it is bigger than it, but there it is. So let me open these tabs here. That's all this box is. Phone line in, phone line out. I can simulate a busy tone if I want to. I'm not. Power brick goes in the back. Active phone line. Oh, wow, Apex. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, this is the power brick by itself. This is the device it's going to. So now, one line in from the Dreamcast to here, one line out to this USB modem. USB modem plugs into the DreamPi, and then this plugs into my network. I configure it correctly, and now the games that have online connectivity on the Dreamcast will see an active network. And there's an entire community out there for the Dreamcast doing homebrew servers for the games that need a centralized server to talk to. They're bringing back a friends list system so people can see when other users are online or not. That opens up a realm of possibility for other retro streams going forward. And I'm probably going to see if I can find a way to give back or support that community, whether it's running a server internally or perhaps some contribution to a project somehow. And then I may take it further and see about getting the Sega Genesis. There was a Sega Net service for the Genesis. See if that works. There was a modem for the Saturn. See if I can get these things to work and simulate back in the day. I can truly bring back the full retro aspect of all these consoles, because people don't often realize that there were online options for these older consoles. It just wasn't commonplace. The internet age hadn't exploded yet, and it was rather expensive. You needed the console, you needed the modem, you needed to have a phone line you can use whenever, which, for those of us that were kids back in the day, your parents would just answer the phone. They don't care if you're online. That, especially during the early days of us downloading, if you know what I'm saying. You were waiting an hour for that download and the phone rings. Well, that's when the age of download managers had to become a thing so you could pause your downloads. But yeah, maybe if I can get all of these older consoles online, then I can demonstrate to you what that experience was more authentically and in more detail than most people have probably seen, because a lot of people don't even know these things existed. But yeah, that's the DreamPi project. I can bring up their page and show to y'all very quickly. Feels strange typing in these gloves. Where that's tutorials. This is the service, dreamcastlive.net. You can buy modems with different kits and PAL versions of the voltage regulators. Hood Ninja, how are you? Yeah, these people have nice stuff. Not fixing this time, just showing off here. So they even have leaderboards now with the online capability restored back to the Dreamcast. So these things are here. People are playing these things. And here goes the server software. If you wanted to run a server yourself. Yes, Hood Ninja, people are bringing it back. Pyro, that's why I downloaded after 10 p.m. If you called after 10 p.m. and messed my download up, I'm calling the phone company, blocking your number. Wow. So here I could run, technically, I could download the software and become a new server host for either Quake 3 Arena, 4x4 Evolution, Toy Racer, Pod Speed Zone, Planet Ring, the Game Spy Tweet, which is multiple games. So I could contribute in that way. They have schedules. Oh, they have their own like tournaments. These are the guides for it. These are the games supported. And they even tell you how many people are on with this software right now. 16 people are playing F3 Ferrari F33. Wow, what can I speak? Ferrari F355 challenge. Words are hard. Um, but notice most of these say modem. Very few say broadband adapter. That's why it's really not. It doesn't benefit you to use a broadband adapter for a lot of these games because the modem is almost universally supported. But yeah, this stuff is becoming more and more common. Let me see about guides for. This is the connection guide. Yeah, the written DreamPi tutorial. And they tell you what you need: Raspberry Pi, power supply, USB modem, line voltage inducer, which is what you saw me have there. RJ11, yeah, of course. Dreamcast web browser, Ethernet cable, of course, because to tie it back in. So there's lots of detail on how to get this going. I might even do that live, or I may just put together everything and then show you all the end result. We'll see. But yeah, this is pretty much it as far as so one DreamPi coming to the setup. Until the next unboxing, I don't need these white gloves anymore.